Fuck, dude, this mug is so hot. I am not going to be able to drink this tea. Oh, it's so hot. It's going to be an hour into the show before I'm able to pick that up.
You need to drop an ice cube in there.
Oh, some sort of iced tea?
There you go. That was it.
That can't be it. That can't be it. We would lose all credibility as humans, which is why it has to be it.
Yeah. That's it's a complicated logic, but I think I follow you.
Hello and welcome to Flanagan's Wake, a Doof Media podcast looking for the man in Mike Flanagan's mirror. My name is Scott Daly, and joining me, as always, he's been to Ultima Thule and back, and all he got was his death of the concept of self. It's Matt Freeman. How's it going today, Matt?
I'm doing fantastic. I've achieved enlightenment and feel neither time nor space nor distance, and it turns out that when that happens to you, you just really want to talk about a really good TV show.
Yeah. I think Flat Earth is out and Hollow Earth, that's in.
Yeah.
It's so in.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of evidence for it.
And both Godzilla and King Kong support the theory. So you know you're doing it right.
Yeah.
This week. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the evidence is that it would be sick as hell.
Yeah. This week on the show, our coverage of Mike Flanagan's The Fall of the House of Usher continues with episode 6, Goldbug. It's time for the big launch as Tammerlane finally steps into the limelight, and everything goes great, Matt. It's the perfect launch, no notes. It's all good here. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, she certainly does a lot of thinking on her feet. We'll say that for her.
She also does a lot of walking on mirror shards on her feet.
True.
My favorite part, I know we're jumping. My favorite part is that random blogger in the back of the room that goes, Tammerlane Usher is so over.
Tammerlane Usher is over.
Just in case we had any doubts.
It's great.
Matt, what'd you think? This was the Tammy Usher episode. This was Sam Saloyan to get her chance to really stretch her legs here. What'd you think of the episode?
I loved it. It was very fun. It was delightful focusing on Samantha Saloyan for a whole episode. Solid. It was her episode, you know?
Yeah. Don't you kind of wish we had waited to watch the episode before we talked to her? I kind of regret the timing of it.
I mean, a little bit, but also that got to be a conversation where we focused a lot on talking about Bev, which I had wanted to for literally years, you know?
Fair.
So now we could talk about Tammerlane with her some other time. There you go.
Yeah. We'll invite her on right after Carrie, and instead of talking about Margaret White,
yeah,
we'll talk about Tammerlane Usher, and then we'll just keep rolling it forward.
We'll just be like, I haven't watched any Carrie yet for some reason, but yeah, no.
I did, before we get into the episode, I had a correction of sorts. And this is the weird thing with our recording schedule where by the time our listeners are hearing this, it will be 2 episodes ago. But it was literally like 2 days ago where I messaged you and went like, oh, I'm stupid. Which is at the very end of episode 4 of the show, The Black Cat, when Leo Usher has fallen out of off of his balcony, smashed on the floor below. A cat walks up and sits on him, and that's how we close the episode. And I swear to God, Matt, I have this very distinct memory of going like, why are we seeing the cat again? Maybe, and I just like shrugged and went like, it's probably just Verna fucking with him. And then we had several listeners point out that no, that cat is Pluto. He's wearing the Gucci collar still. That is Pluto. So the idea is basically that Leo actually never killed the cat. Well, like we said on that episode, that in episode 4, the Black Cat, the cat that he finds doesn't exist, right? That cat never existed. And we knew that. But what the episode says at the very end is that even the moment where he kills the cat brutally, hides it, that didn't exist either. That was all part of his drug hallucination or what have you.
Yeah. Those people, those listeners who pointed that out are exactly right. That's great. I didn't clock that, but it totally makes sense. I even remember seeing the collar now when it's pointed out.
Yeah.
I will say, and I think this sort of chains nicely into this episode, that does make me a little bit less sure of what exactly Leo is being punished for. And the reason it chains into this episode specifically is I'm less sure what Tammerlane is being punished for. And
Sure.
I contextualize this as basically just like, look, the other characters were either like deeply complicit in the family's evil to the extent of perpetuating it, or just had like really glaring flaws in other ways. But like Tammerlane, she's very mean to her husband in particular.
Sure.
Does she deserve death? And we kind of talked about this last time, when we talked about not last time, two weeks ago when we talked about Leo, because it was like, I mean, he turns a blind eye to the family's evils and he benefits from the family's evils, but does he deserve death? Right? I don't know. I don't have a like point. I'm just kind of airing my thoughts about this here because, it's simply that like you watch Tammerlane get tortured and die in this episode, and I'm like, I don't know that she did anything that bad.
Well, she just stop hitting your mirrors with a fire poker and you won't get tortured and die.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could just be like, look, Matt, you're thinking about it wrong. This isn't about justice. This is about like this just happened. She did this to herself. Mm-hmm. There is no justice here. She is just self-destructive. Doesn't mean she deserved it. It's just the consequences of her actions in a very mundane sense, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely things that I can talk about that I'm just going to hold on for until we see the full scope of what the show is doing. But I think that's a fair assessment to make right now. It'd be like, are we doling out justice? Each of these kids is terrible in their own way. And I don't think you're arguing that they're not like shitty people, but like, is being a shitty person worthy of a horrible, gruesome death? Maybe. But maybe not, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's just the type of thing we're gonna have to put a pin in. I think at least you're gonna have no qualms with this in next week's episode, because I think we can firmly say that Frederick is in the camp of a horrible monster. After the events of this here episode,
I've really enjoyed this, by the way, because I distinctly remember toward the beginning of the show being like, Frederick seems to be the nice one. Like he has a daughter that he seems to have a decent relationship with. He has a wife and they talk to each other. They don't swear at each other and they don't have any weird, sadomasochism stuff going on. And like, nope. He is possibly the worst, actually.
I have this very distinct memory of texting our friend Jody while you were talking in the middle of the podcast saying, I'm currently listening to Matt talk about how great Frederick is.
He's such a sweet guy. Look at him bowling. He looks so happy and childlike.
I think all of that is a testament to just Henry Thomas and the way he can play this character and we talked about this a little last week, but the way he can take what is goofy and kind of a punchline into something very, very sinister. Very good at it. And then we see the culmination of that, or maybe not the culmination. We don't know what's going to happen next week, but certainly a culmination of that idea.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. Episode 6, Goldbug. This episode, of course, was written by Mike Flanagan and Rebecca Klingel. It was directed by Mike Flanagan. I believe that means our final 2 episodes are going to be back in the hands of Michael Famignari. This episode was edited by Brett W. Bachman and Mr. Mike Flanagan, and the director of photography was Michael Famignari. Once again, DP on all the episodes. Steps in and directs for a few, but managing those lenses and those lights on every single one.
Cool.
All right, Matt, let's begin with this opening section of this episode, which is, I think, maybe pound for pound, like one of my favorite bits of the show so far. So we open on Tammy alone in this hotel room. We have this kind of beautiful piano score playing behind her as she goes about her business. and it being interrupted time and time again from her loss of consciousness. And I just really like the setup of this. This almost operates in and of itself as like a little short story where we are seeing her go through it. It's she's very alone. I think the camera does a very good job of capturing her loneliness. And then also kind of the way it's playing with the idea of losing consciousness and losing time, and not just losing time, but losing actions too, right? It's not just, we get the wonderful moment where she falls asleep and hits her head on the mirror.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, thank you. And that's like, okay, she was like looking in the mirror and she fell asleep. And then with the tea kettle, like we expect her to, she fell asleep and the tea kettle's going off. And it's like, no, wait, the tea kettle had gone off. She filled her tea up. And then later she had drank all her tea. And so she's not just losing consciousness, she's losing time. And that is adding to this disorientation and the hallucination she's seeing, and she's suffering from insomnia. This is what we learned definitively in this episode. It's not just that she's choosing not to sleep. She has insomnia. She's not able to sleep. And it's really messing her up, and it kind of leads into everything that happens with her here. Here's something in the beginning, Matt, that I've been waiting to say to you for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how many mirrors there are in Tammy's apartment?
Just like I don't notice ghosts, I don't notice mirrors.
I told myself, I was like, I wasn't going to comment on the mirrors unless Matt commented on the mirrors until we get to this episode. So I was just standing by. And I think, like, even before we get to the idea of the mirrors being the thing that ultimately kills her, like, it is such an interesting choice to make her, like, signature thing the mirrors, right? The reflections, this idea of voyeurism, right? She's looking, she likes to look, she likes to watch, but it's herself she likes to watch, a reflection of herself, a version of herself. And I love that motif, and like it's there in the background of the show the whole time. But it is in this episode that it really comes to focus, especially as we end this gorgeous opening section of the show with her laying down on the bed, looking up at the mirroring on her ceiling, which I gotta say, I didn't know Tammy Usher got it down like that. I thought she was just interested in sliding down in a chair and watching her husband make dinner.
So I think I distinctly did notice the mirror on the ceiling, but I forgot to say anything about it, because that's that's a choice, right? That's a I think we can draw out what is the metaphor of the mirrors even further than that, right? Because it's like she is terrified of disappointing herself and her family. She kind of hates herself. She
despises herself.
This is why she's so mean, basically. And this is sort of like every kid has a different reaction to like not being loved by their father, right? And hers is to find herself inadequate and to hate herself, but to demand more and more, basically to demand the impossible of herself.
Yeah.
And then she surrounds herself with mirrors. But like you said, she has this voyeurism thing where she wants to watch like a better version of herself so that she can sort of relax and disappear into that.
Mm-hmm.
But then she surrounds herself with mirrors, which reminds her of who she is. And, it's like a prison.
Yeah.
I love all that. I want to talk about the decor, right? So this is a thing, we've talked a bit about it kind of as it was relevant throughout the show. Like, Leo's apartment is full of gamer stuff, and it's got this very particular aesthetic. And the youngest kid, Prospero, Perry. I was reaching for his shorter name. Mm-hmm. Perry, his is like this, very, almost dungeon-like sort of excess vibe.
With like very self-aggrandizing, right? Like it's pictures of him over and over and over and over again.
Good point. So in this one, we have what really is almost like a furniture catalog sort of decor. It's
Yes.
very like, I don't know what the right reference is here. It's like an Ethan Allen furniture catalog or something, except with a lot more mirrors than you would usually have in such a place. But like very sort of safe choices. I just Googled some like Tammerlane Usher apartment, and the first thing that comes up is her Vince double slit fluffy alpaca blend mock neck. sweater that she's wearing. So like it's
Mhm.
her wardrobe and her environment are these sort of like straight out of a magazine of how to, of like, you know, this kind of lifestyle, the sort of cozy, classy, expensive, uh, uh, like, but not lived in. Like, I think this is one thing I really noticed when she was making the tea is she's making tea and this kitchen island is stretching out behind her and there's nothing on the island, right?
Yeah.
Which it's like, that's not a big deal, right? It's like, well, there's absolutely nothing on the island and it's like in the middle of the shot and it's just like only in a house where no one actually lives would there be nothing on the island, and she's just a person who sort of leaves no imprint. I don't know. I was just noticing how the environment and the apartment that she lives in emphasizes her loneliness, her sort of lack of connection to anything, because it feels like it's a, you know, what, like the part of the furniture store where they have the couch and the chair and the you know, no one lives there. If someone lived there, it would be messy. But nothing is messy because she doesn't leave any trace. She's this creature of appearance.
I totally agree. I mean, the way I described it in my head as I was watching is like nothing in this apartment looks bad because it's almost like clinically, scientifically designed to not look bad. But I think what you said, safe. And I think that's very true. Like, this is devoid of personality. It's devoid, like, who are the people that live here? You look around and it was like, what do they like? Well, there's a bunch of mirrors, so maybe themselves, but that's the great irony of Tammerlane Usher is that no, actually she hates herself. But yeah, it's just very milk toast, very plain, very safe, very boring. Like I said, it doesn't look bad. It's nice. They have a lot of money. They're rich, and you could make an argument that one of the reasons why it looks so clean is because they probably have a daily cleaning crew that's coming in and cleaning up constantly. But I actually think the real point is exactly what you say, is that it looks sterile, it looks empty, it looks unlived in. This is a place that is very, very alone, and I think the number of mirrors in the place serves to do what mirrors do very well in a small space, which is make it look bigger. And I think it makes this place look like cavernous at times. Like that one particular shot when Tammy sees Candy, aka Verna, out of the corner of her eye, walking down a hallway, and follows her into the hallway. And our camera like pushes down the hallway, and as we do that, like we're seeing the in the mirrors, like it bouncing and reflecting off like one or two other mirrors, and just makes it seem like this place is absolutely massive, but as you said, absolutely empty. It just really, I think it's a very good set deck. I think it's very good at establishing, and this has been true from the very beginning of the show. The difference was during all those times, at least she had Bill T to fill the house a little bit. The Bill was there, and he is such a warm presence in the space that he brings it to life in a way that we only really see once she's alone there. How empty and null it feels.
I like that. That's true. Yeah, you know, I don't usually feel that mirrors are creepy intrinsically. I mean, if we're watching something like Oculus, then mirrors can definitely get creepy. But like this episode really made me feel like mirrors are creepy.
Yeah. I agree. It's just an excessive amount of them. It's so many. And just to say that, like, that's the type of thing where if you're like, for example, trying to shoot a television show in a space, that's got to be a nightmare. Like the amount of angles that you have lost in any space because you have just this absurd amount of mirrors in your space. Like it really limits where you can put the camera and what you can do. And I'm sure they had like, I'm sure this was a set and they had like sliding walls that they could just move out of the way to break down some of that reflective spaces. But there's a lot of mirrors in these shots. Like there's shots in this episode with like 3-4 mirrors in it. And it's just like, oh, so we have this little corner that we can put the camera and that's it. And the fact that it all like I think the filmmaking like just looks great in these moments. Like there's some great tracking shots as we kind of follow Tammy through the house. And like, I don't know why it stuck with me, but once we go down that hallway, I really loved that tracking shot. And then as the camera moves into the kitchen, I feel like it's probably a steady cam shot as like the camera like turns and moves into the kitchen. And then Tammy cuts into the frame from the side as we push into the incredibly empty kitchen with just the Goldbug box on the counter. I just liked that camera move in particular. I can't even say why. I was just like, oh, that's nice. That looks nice. That looks very smooth. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, do we know, it's just occurred to me as you were going through all that, like, do we know how the scene with all the breaking mirrors was shot? Do we have any information about that? I always wonder, because like, it really looks to me like she's like Samantha Slayan is smashing mirrors with the stick, right? And it's like, I almost want to say that's probably not actually happening because it would be incredibly unsafe, and I don't know if there's a way to make mirror glass not dangerous. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It looks very convincing. It looks so convincing that I don't see how they could have really faked it, but I almost can't believe they would have really done it. I mean, especially the scene with the where she smashes the mirror above her, which is this slow motion shot, and like nothing
gorgeous.
Yeah. Nothing about it looks wrong, right? Like it has to be that she jumped on a bed and fell on a bed, and then they CGI'd in a bunch of glass, though. Like, I don't see how else.
Certainly. Yeah. But it looks really good.
Yeah,
like for that, like it looks really good. Yeah. Yeah. I love that whole sequence. One thing I do want to say about the apartment while we're talking about it, though, is this is something that I think only appeared in the second in the episode before this one, but it's the element that gets us our green tint as things start to really collapse, and that is this very obnoxiously like bright green neon sign that is on the building across from their apartment. And I think it sticks out, and it would stick out anyway because it's so bright green, and we know Tammy's color is green, but like in such a apartment that's kind of like devoid of any kind of emotion or style or anything, like it sticks out even more. Like, I really love that shot where we see the picture of Bill and Tammy together, and then we're seeing the reflection of the green sign from through the window, and that's when we also get to see the Verna dressed up as Tammy reflection bounce off that as well. Which, like, speaking of that, I was like convinced that there was going to be like hidden Verna reflections everywhere in this opening scene. And all I got was that one that the show clearly telegraphs for us. I was like looking, I rewatched the scene so many times, I was looking like in every corner of mirror or right before the camera moves off of a reflection, and there's not any. And I wonder if there was a real temptation to do that, to hide her in the mirrors a lot of times as we walk through, but the practicality of making that work with our already like very limited angles of where we can put the camera, and now you want to also hide a character who has to not get seen in the camera, only seeing the reflection, is limiting another space we could put the camera. And they just said we can't make that work in a way we want to. This is a conjecture, I don't know, but I was convinced there was some hidden Vernas there somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't see any either, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you're not really reliable with the hidden people. What'd you think of the Goldbug box, though? I got a little laugh last week when you said I keep associating with this with the Scarab for some reason. And then I was like, oh, it's because it is.
Yeah.
You can also see it when Tammy is at the funeral in last week's episode. She is wearing like a pin on her hat, and it is like a Goldbug pin. It is a Scarab. So you also maybe subconsciously clocked that. There's
a lot of Egypt stuff, actually. I don't know if we talked about this yet, but Roderick's been waving around that Kopesh for a couple episodes now. Which,
what a way to greet your granddaughter.
Yeah. No, he's really losing it. Yeah. And then he has the Egyptian, emeralds. And then the Goldbug is a gold kind of Egyptian style scarab. Ancient Egyptian rather. Yeah. So
and then Madeline was compared to Cleopatra in a couple episodes ago by Verna. No, there's definitely some recurring Egyptian beats in this, which is like, I mean, maybe there's some great thematic stuff that we can dive into when we get through the whole show, but it also speaks to me of like a specific like kind of Western aristocracy's obsession with ancient Egypt, that I think has been something that's been true forever. That like very, very rich people of the West have this weird, similar to an obsession with the Roman Empire, but this is a little different. with Egyptian culture and relics and wanting to own all this stuff. That strikes me as something very, very specific to like a Western aristocratic class of people.
Yeah, it also reminds me of, it's not an Edgar Allan Poe poem, but Ozymandias, where it's basically about like a fallen, forgotten empire, where in context of this dynasty, right? The
Sure,
Usher dynasty, which is falling just like the Egyptians did. I did a quick search.
Absolutely.
Did a quick search to see, did Poe write about Egypt? And he wrote apparently a satirical short story called "Some Words with a Mummy," in which in which a man discourses with a revived mummy.
Cool.
That's delightful. I love that.
I actually think I'm not remembering exactly where I saw this or when, but I think I remember seeing something that like in Poe's time, like we were learning a lot more about ancient Egypt, and it became an in vogue thing to like really get into ancient Egypt in that time. And so maybe that short story you're talking about was his way of like satirizing that new obsession. And then Flanagan and his team are channeling that into House of Usher as a way of another reference to Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. I mean, we didn't read the story, so I can't really say. I mean that just skimming this Wikipedia article, which is the height of journalism, it seems like Poe is specifically lampooning the idea that modern men of the 1850s are more civilized than the people of the past, and in fact that they are the pinnacle of civilization. And they talk to this ancient Egyptian mummy, and the mummy essentially punctures this delusion, which is a fun, I don't know if it's like the tightest mesh with the show we're watching, but it is kind of an interesting, like, puncturing hubris being a cool connection, possibly.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think you asked about Goldbug and
the box itself.
Talked
right?
about the box. It's a box full of treasures. I mean, so that I was trying to make connections to the story, right? So the story involves a literal golden bug, which is sort of in a weirdly tangential way involved in a guy finding a treasure. So I kind of thought the connection here is like, well, the box itself is meant to be the thing that contains the treasure.
Sure.
But in this particular case, the treasure is sort of snake oil. And
almost literally.
Yeah. If snake oil existed, then the box would have snake oil in it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's true. I really like thought long and hard on the ways we could tie this back to Goldbug, which is such an unusual Poe story. It is different from every other Poe story we read. And I think that the honest conclusion is that outside of like Tammy's obsession with the Goldbug as like a brief thing at the beginning of that short story, was that Jupiter's concern that his master was getting overly obsessed with this thing. That's the only real link I had. It's really funny because the actual Poe story that this much more closely aligns with is William Wilson, which is the story about Bill T, our character Bill T. Because in that Poe short story, it is a story about a man who starts seeing his doppelganger, and then gets kind of driven insane by his doppelganger. Eventually, ends up stabbing his doppelganger, only to realize he's just killed himself. So that is a much more kind of almost one-to-one, not quite, but almost one-to-one comparison for Tammy. And so like, I wonder, just in the creation of the show and creation of the characters and the creation of which Poe stories are we going to focus on and which Poe stories are going to become our titular stories. I wonder how many revisions that went through. Like, I wonder if there was a version of the story where it wasn't Tammerlane Usher at the beginning, it was William Usher or something. And then we came up with this Tammy character. It's like the perfect character for Sam Sloyan to play. So we had to make it. And then we have to move away from the William Wilson doppelganger storyline, but maybe we don't. And what about Goldbug? Can we fit Goldbug in? Well, we can reference it. I mean, and all the stories reference the Poe story to various degrees, right? I just think it's true that this one probably is the least referential to its source material.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's also referential to the Tammerlane poem. So I did a tiny bit of research here because I was curious about the name Tammerlane, and we did not read the poem Tammerlane, but apparently, Poe wrote this poem, and it's a fictionalized account of the story of a guy who's actually named Timur, I believe, who was a sorry, I wrote this down. Now I can't find my notes. Who was a Turco-Mongol conqueror in the 1300s, probably a descendant of Genghis Khan, although apparently people disagree about whether that's true.
I feel like 50% of the world has claimed at some point that they're a descendant of Genghis Khan.
That's certainly true now. I'm just not sure how true that was in the 1300s. But anyway, he's one of those guys who he's currently still beloved in like Afghanistan and Iran and Central Asia, and then like really deeply hated in all of the surrounding areas because of all the massacring that he did. A lot of massacring with this guy, but the Poe story is more, again, highly fictionalized. It's basically saying that he abandoned his young love so that he could go become a conqueror and a founder of this empire, and it's sort of turning it into this romantic thing, which the connection I'm reaching for here is that Tammy essentially does this to Bill. Bill is the potential for real love and real connection that she attempts, she abandons in favor of her vision of greatness and doing something new, being a part of the Usher empire.
I love that. I didn't look into that at all, so thank you for doing the hard work there. That's really cool. I knew every single character in the show has a reference to a Poe poem or short story. I should have actually looked up all the short stories. Like I said, when we were doing the Edgar Allan Poe stuff, we could have done that for 3 months.
Yeah.
And not gotten every single thing that is referenced in this show.
Tammerlane was the only one where I didn't know. I had no idea what it was and what it was referencing. But anyway, yeah. So I think the point of us kind of sifting through all this stuff is that yes, all of these things are somewhat connected, even if just thematically, and that's very fun.
Yeah,
and I like that.
Yeah, me too.
The Goldbug box is interesting because she's in her mind, at least, she's doing something different. She's doing something unlike what the Ushers have done in the past.
Yeah.
And if we're getting just to briefly tie it back to what we were talking about a minute ago with does she deserve this? I think one thing you could critically say about her is it's not really that different because she's essentially promoting ineffective, highly expensive, gift wrapped garbage to people. Like it's got the spin element of the Ushers where we take the lemons, right? We take the lemons and we do hashtag lemon, right? There's fundamentally nothing here. It's not actually wellness treatments. Like it's not actually medicine. It's all just smoke and mirrors. So while she thinks she's doing something very different, it's actually just this, focus grouped repeat of the thing that they've been doing the whole time.
What are you talking about? It has black diamond truffle extract in it, Matt.
Yeah, black diamond.
We all know that's gonna. It's the fountain of youth.
That's what I've always heard. Truffle extract as a. I mean, I'm sure it's very expensive. So
well, you got to get the black diamond stuff, Matt. It does remind me of the absurdity of Perry's eggs.
Yes,
where like it is really interesting because it is this. It seems like Tammy's trying to sell like multiple things at once. She's trying to sell health and wellness, sure, but it's like in an effort to show this is not just another subscription box. It's like, well, this is stuff like it's going to be incredibly tailored and personalized to you. Which let me tell you something that every single subscription box says, literally every single one says it's going to be tailored and personalized to you. That's like the whole thing with the subscription box, right? That's like from the cheapest subscription box to the most expensive subscription box. It's like you're going to get to pick and choose the things you want, and it's going to be the things that most benefit you. That's the whole deal behind a subscription box. Even though some of them do, like, keep what you want and return what you don't at no price. It's the same thing. It's the same deal. But then, yeah, it's this idea, this illusion of health and wellness. And I think I want to talk a lot about the scene with Bill that we get in this episode, because I love that scene. But the moment when Tammy kind of comes clean, and it turns out he's already left because she's barely able to stay conscious, and she probably waited. It was after he left that she started talking. She says, I just want to see that we're more than just Fortunato, that we're not just pill pushers. We can be about health and about beauty. And the Usher name is more than just Roderick and Madeline. So like, I think in a very similar way to the way her father pushed Ligadone as this thing, this change the world thing that's going to solve this problem. It's not going to just be about selling drugs, but it's going to be about giving people a world without pain. Tammy has convinced herself that this is about more than just selling product. It's about health and beauty. This is about really helping people and providing something to people that is new and different from just the drug peddling that the Ushers have made their name for. But then she lets slip at the very end that what it's really about is that the Usher name is more than just Roderick and Madeline. That what this is really about is proving that she is worthy, that proving that she can do something. And then there's a lot to this. Like, up until this point, Matt, we've had our 4 bastard children are the ones that we focused on until then. And not to say that they're any less Ushers than the others, but I do think there's an added amount of pressure put on Tammy by perhaps herself, perhaps her father, probably a little bit of both, that it's like, you are the quote unquote real Usher, and you are expected to be like better than the bastards, than the ones that I think Frederick says in this episode, they're not real Ushers, and they're not good. He says that they're not really all that. And so there's this added pressure to that. It's like, not only do I have the same level of expectation placed on myself by my father that all the other kids in that we've seen so far, but Tammy feels like this extra level of like, I'm comparing myself to Roderick and Madeline Usher, 2 of the most successful human beings in the history of the world. They built this huge empire. Madeline is a literal genius. We saw that. Roderick has built this incredible company. He's a billionaire. He's hugely successful, and that is her comparison point. And it's like scrambling to come up with an idea that's good enough for that. And this is the thing she landed on, because it's different enough while still being part of it. But it's all just like the Ligadone, to get back to your point, just like the Ligadone, it's all fake. It's not real. It's not doing anything, actually. You're selling junk and disguising it as luxury, and unlike the Prospero wrapping of luxury is exclusivity and debauchery, this is a luxury of exclusivity, and like, this stuff is banned in the United States. You can't even get this stuff here. We're going to put it in the box and send it to you. But it's snake oil. That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it is. She's no better than them, and maybe that's part of why she hates herself. Like, in addition to, she wants to be better than them, but she's trapped in their shadow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and her dad just does a really fucking terrible job of making her feel like she's loved, and like she doesn't have to worry about this, and like everything's going to be okay, and even if this thing doesn't work, you're going to be fine. Doesn't do any of that. That is actually, so this is an idea I had that I wanted to run by you, of like, it really struck me in this episode when we have Tammy calling her father. He's not answering. She goes to the house. He's not there. Madeline is telling Roderick, like, your daughter needs you. Go to her, help her. Same thing with Lenore comes to talk to Roderick about Frederick and how she's worried about her father, and he just kind of blows it off. Like, these are kids that are like desperately seeking like directly seeking help from their dad, and he's completely unable to be responsive to it. And it made me think about every single death that's happened in the show so far. Like, if Roderick had a relationship with Perry that was like good and healthy, and he feel like he could come to his dad about this party idea he has, maybe Daddy says, hey, those aren't water tanks up there. That's acid. If Camille has a good enough relationship with her dad, maybe she goes to her dad with this information that she thinks she's found out about Vic, and they can go together and confront Vic together, and she doesn't have to sneak off to an animal testing facility in the middle of the night. If Leo has this problem with this cat, he thinks he's killed this cat. If he had a relationship with his father, we could go to his father. I'm freaking out, Dad. I'm losing it. Something's going on with me. Maybe we could talk through it together. And same with Vic, right? If Usher fostered a relationship with Victorine, that she could come clean to him about the fact that our tests are failing, things aren't working. Maybe it doesn't get to this level of suicide and death and horribleness. And like, it just seems like across the board, if he was just an actual father to these kids, if he fostered a relationship with these kids where they could come to them with their problems, where they could communicate, and he could be a level of emotional stability for them, then maybe we could have avoided some of these deaths. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I love that. He's just a horrible father.
Yeah.
He's in addition to all of his actual, like, his flaws as like a guy who foisted this horrible drug upon the world, just totally separate from that. I think he's just being a terrible father and having no real connection with any of his children is his own separate flaw.
Yeah, and we see in this episode, it's remarkable how shitty he is in this episode, because we get to see him come back from witnessing his daughter stab herself in the heart and kill herself, and he's clearly shell-shocked. He's losing it. He's rambling about sapphires that he bought for his sister to the ghosts of his children. And then Madeline comes in and says, don't forget, Vic had a board seat. And it's like, whoop. Like, Flanagan even does, the second she says that, Flanagan starts doing a push-in, as like to signal like, oh, he's listening now. And he immediately straightens up. He's like, all right, that is a problem I can solve. He goes to the board, and he starts wrangling the board. And let's be clear here. Nothing has happened with the board yet, right? He's making precautionary moves to ensure that if they continue to lose Usher seats on the board, that they're not in a situation where they lose control of the company. Meanwhile, your daughter and son have just watched 4 of their siblings die in the course of a week. They're probably freaking out. And in no part of his day is like, that's something I can do. I can go comfort them and let them know that it's going to be okay, that they're going to be fine, that we're working on this together, that let's team up. You guys are my only 2 kids left, my true born children. Let's get together. He doesn't even see Tammy or Frederick in this episode at all. They're not in the room together at any point in this episode. He sucks so much.
Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing the worst of him, right? It's interesting how I feel like, similarly to my perception of Frederick deteriorating over time, it's like we've really seen his true colors emerge as we've seen his children begin to die one by one, and instead of appearing to have any kind of normal reaction to this, he has sort of spiraled into his own solipsistic, weird universe where he's just detached from all of them and barely even reacts anymore. I'm debating whether to go into all the stuff from last episode where he like was going to kill himself and then decided not to, and the show was really cagey about like what does he think is happening here exactly. Like he seems to have some, there seems to be something that he and Madeline know or are in denial about, and he's like struggling with it, and that's part of what's happening. Like, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying Madeline doesn't seem to be in denial about it at all. She's come to a level of acceptance. I know exactly what's happening here. You know exactly what's happening here. Why are you refusing to admit it? And he is again and again and again denying it.
I think maybe the scene where he thinks about killing himself was him grappling with this thing, whatever it is, and then kind of not being able to go through with it. But we still don't know what it is exactly. So I mean, it seems almost like some kind of devil's bargain that they made. That was like, this is going to become due someday. You know, this is the kind of thing. I'm saying this partially because of the fact that we see Verna with all of the rich people.
You mean every single rich, successful person for the last 120 years? Yeah.
And that's like the situation there is like, you make a bargain and then you become super wealthy, but you paid something, right? Or you owe something, perhaps. You haven't paid it yet, but you have to pay it eventually.
Sure. Yeah. I do think the vibe I got, at least from Roderick by the end of the episode, is that he held on to his denial of what was going on right until after all those pictures got tossed in front of him, and right until after Pym is like cleverly like, no, the metadata says so. And I think when he says, can I have the room? And they give him the room and he sits there. And then the next time we see him, he's down in the basement again. And it seems like he's essentially given up. It's like, nothing matters. It doesn't matter. Maybe this is finally Roderick has accepted Madeline's version of what is happening, whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I think the only wrinkle there is that he also doesn't seem to be sure that anything is happening actually, and that he's not just losing his mind. So
yeah, that's the other thing. My heart is dying. My head is dying. I don't even know if you're here right now. He's losing it. He's absolutely losing it. He's seeing his children constantly. They're constantly around him. Just the presence there messing with him. And he hears those bells behind that wall, which means absolutely nothing. Don't worry about it.
No.
I do just want to say, so I really do like the scene with Pym and Madeline and Roderick. We're going through the pictures. There's a couple things in there where I'm just like, okay. The one of them was when Pym says, no, let me tell you, I traced every female bartender in every bar within a 5-mile radius of Fortunato since 1975, and none of it matches up with what we have here. And I'm like, bullshit.
I'm sure they diligently filed their W-2s. Yeah.
A bartender at a dive bar in New York City absolutely does not have records of who was the bartender in 1975. This is not, let me be clear here, I'm having fun here. This is not an actual complaint. This is like, for the purpose of the show, we need to establish two things. Thing number one, the bar that they went to the night of New Year's Eve 1980 was not real. It was not a real bar. It never existed. It's a magic bar. That's what we've established. Thing number two, Verna is actually present with every single rich person since 1901. And like, that's another thing where I'm like, for the purpose of the show, in order to communicate that information to our characters, we have to have her be in all these pictures. But like, in practicality, you're like, what? Why is she in all these pictures?
Yeah.
Because she's not in pictures with Roderick.
Yeah, I admit I agree with you to the extent that while I was watching that scene, I was like, is Pym like making some of this up? Like, did Pym actually doctor these photos? Because like the thing about Pym is that the ushers just trust him because he's been a loyal servant all these years. But if he suddenly started photoshopping pictures, they have no way of checking that. Certainly, Roderick isn't going to go check for a watermark. He's just gonna like, oh wow, okay. So I don't know how to interpret Pym. Let's talk about Pym for a second, I guess, because the show, I think the last two episodes prior to this, we talked a bit about Pym and how mysterious he is, and how the question was like, who is this guy? Why does he work for them? Obviously it's a big mystery. And we got what feels like a reveal this episode, although I'll say only a partial reveal because I still don't know why he works for Roderick and the Ushers. But the reveal was basically he was on this expedition, this fantastic international world-spanning expedition. What is it called? I'm looking.
Transglobe. The Transglobe expedition.
Is this real, by the way?
It's real, yeah.
How come we don't do stuff like that anymore, Scott?
I don't know. I think some people probably do.
I was going to say it feels like the kind of thing that would have been popular in the 19th century, like a sort of Shackleton vibes. It's like we're gonna do this really hard thing just because it's there,
Yeah. I mean, I put a map of it in our show notes if you want to see what the actual route was. It starts in Greenwich, England, and then heads south, cuts through Saharan Africa, and then sails down to Cape Town, then sails down to the South Pole, and then east to Sydney, and then further east up to LA, and then through the Northwest Passage all the way up to the North Pole, and then back down again. They basically picked the hardest possible route to go north to south on the globe.
Yeah, and yeah, visiting all the worst places like Los Angeles. Sorry,
got him.
Yeah, I mean that's very cool. And then so he went on this adventure. So he when he was a young man, he was this adventurer, almost a sort of swashbuckling, picaresque figure, perhaps. And,
yeah, they said he took a break. He was in law school, and he took a break from law school to do this for 3 years.
Yeah, and then horrible things happened when they were in the North Pole that he won't talk about.
Yeah,
and now he's doing this.
So there's some stuff from the novel that Edgar Allan Poe wrote about Arthur Gordon Pym that includes some stuff in the North Pole. It also includes some cannibalism. So that line where Roderick says, "I hope he ate someone," is a reference to to that. Which also he says, I don't know if you caught the part where he says when he's chasing down a lead, he's saying he's going to have someone for dinner, and I was like, ha ha ha, good joke, because that's like a thing that a Hannibal Lecter would do. It's like, I'm going to have him for dinner, and by that I mean I'm going to eat him.
So I believe what he said is I like to think he's tasted people or something like that.
Yeah,
and I love that the camera is actually showing Dupont when he says this, because Dupont's face goes from they've kind of been riffing, right? They've kind of been having a nice time chatting.
Yeah.
And when he says, I like to think that he's eaten people, Dupont's face goes from sort of like amused, kind of having a good time, to just oh, I just remembered that you're a monster.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. So what we get here though is that Pym says he went to an island at the North Pole called Ultima Thule. Thule is Old English for island, so it's literally just the ultimate island. It's supposed to be the idea of it is supposed to be the final frontier. It's the place in which the last place on Earth. And he saw there that the Earth is hollow and filled with people that live outside of time and space. This is a reference to an Edgar Allan Poe short story poem called Dreamland, which I read today. It's a fucking awesome poem. Everyone should go read that poem. It's great. And it references Ultima Thule. Also, the most famous, well-known picture of Poe, the daguerreotype of Poe, is called Ultima Thule after his poem. I think the woman that he was, I think he asked her to marry her, and it was turned down, and then tried to kill himself and failed in killing himself because he messed up. What I read is he was going to drink 2 doses of laudanum, and the second dose would have killed him. But the first dose he fucked up, and he got so sick that he wasn't able to take the second dose, and he lived. And then 4 days later, he took this picture. So, so that's just if you want to know the life of Edgar Allan Poe. But this picture is called Ultima Thule. And it is a reference to that poem. And if you've played the video game Final Fantasy XIV, it's also a zone in that video game. So,
yep.
I love the idea of Ultima Thule. I love the idea of this place of a place beyond where people don't follow our rules, and I love the idea that Pym, the child that Pym told the story to, was none other than Tammerlane Usher, who was our focal point of the episode. And you kind of wonder what that did to her to hear this. I think Roderick jokes around about it, but this idea of just there's a realm of beings, of people that live outside of time and space under all of us, and maybe part of that has warped her into the person she is, that is seeing this being, this reflection of her. So I don't know. That's I'm making that up.
I mean, that's funny because I was just thinking about Us, the Jordan Peele film, and then you made the connection to her and the doppelganger, and then
perfect.
And I got some chills there. So I don't know. That's cool though.
Yeah,
people living underground, doppelgangers. Watch that movie.
It's a great movie. I really just to talk about the scene. I like that you mentioned that they're kind of joking around about the Transglobe expedition. There's this moment where you can, we were kind of told that these two men were friends at one point throughout the course of these last 6 episodes. And when we met them, they were icy to each other, or at least Dupont was to Roderick. And so this is that moment when they're kind of joking around and like reciting the advertisement around this huge expedition that you can see like the old friendships are there a little bit there. And then I think you're absolutely right that illusion is shattered. And then we end the thing with Dupont being like, it's funny you mentioned that, because the reason why I know so much about this expedition is because when they got back to England and everyone was talking about it, I was watching a lot of TV because I was unemployed because of you, which, I mean, I don't think the show is specifically stated that Roderick fucks Dupont over in their whole scheming in the past, but I think you and I came to that conclusion, or at least you came to that conclusion last week, if not the week before. So we get like confirmation of that's kind of how this stuff is going to go down, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think it almost has to. Like, we were thinking about Rufus and what Rufus is going to do to him when he finds out that he is photocopying things. Like he's gonna try to do to Roderick what Roderick would do to someone who he caught photocopying something, right? He would probably try to have them killed, literally.
Yeah.
And if not that, then he would ruin their lives so thoroughly that death would be a blessing.
Yeah.
And Roderick being put in that position, or maybe we should say Roderick plus Madeline being put in that position, they're going to have to kill him, So I'm not really justifying anything here, but I am saying, like, it's not exactly mysterious how we got here. Dupont sort of put Roderick in this impossible situation, and Roderick reacted to preserve himself, and this is what happened.
Yeah, I mean, and I had a line of thinking along this, which I did want to talk to you, and let me be clear before we get into this, like, Roderick Usher is a monster. He's a terrible human being. That is a fact of the show. I think it is really interesting when we get to see back in the 1970s and we get to see Roderick and Dupont and Annabelle Lee, this time with no Madeline there. Importantly, no Madeline in that scene, talking about what they're about to have to do and talking about the risks of it. And Roderick is obviously very nervous. Annabelle Lee is very nervous. Our moral center, Annabelle Lee, the one that is supposed to represent like goodness incarnate. She wants him to do the right thing, but she's also very nervous for him doing the right thing because it does carry a lot of risk. And I was really into this line of, I'm putting my neck out there. This is Roderick saying this. I'm putting my neck right into a fucking guillotine. And Dupont says, my neck's right there next to yours.
My neck out there.
And I was like,
guillotine. My neck's right.
Is it though? like, is it? I mean, I understand that there is some risk here for Dupont, right? Like, Rufus Griswold is a very powerful man and a very dangerous man, right? That is true across the board. If you cross him, you are at risk. True. But I think Augie is making it seem like they're both taking the same exact risk. And I just don't think that's true. Like, Auguste Dupont is a medical fraud investigator, right? He's trying to build a case. That's what he is doing. He's doing his job. Now, it is true, we've seen established by the show that, like, his boss doesn't like him investigating this certain thing, probably because he's paid off. But his boss is not a fan of him investigating this, so he could get in trouble at his job for doing this thing. But he's doing his job. Roderick Usher is whistleblowing on his job in a time when I can't remember exactly when we really started to really, like, set up whistleblowing laws to protect people coming forward on this kind of stuff. I don't know if in 1970 whatever we had strong enough whistleblowing laws that would protect Roderick Usher. from legally from any kind of recourse if they found him doing this, let alone what he's going to do to Roderick Usher if he's caught in that basement, right? So the idea that his neck is right there next to yours, to me, uncharitably, that is Auguste Dupont pushing and manipulating Usher into doing something that he wants him to do. And we've seen already that Dupont is he's not the perfect angel, right? He lied about the informant to try to rustle them up. And he obviously wants them to do this. And I'm like, he's trying to do the right thing. I support him on that. But the idea that he's risking just as much, I just don't buy.
Yeah. I mean, I just think you're correct. Roderick has been put in a much worse situation. You could argue that Rufus would come after both of them and try to ruin both of their lives above and beyond just, getting them fired. But
you could at least say, and maybe this is unfair, at least Dupont has the protection of the United States government, right? He works for the Medicare office. He works for the federal government, right? In order for Rufus to come after him, he would have to, in some ways, come after the federal government. Now, he could just hire a person to kill him. Mm-hmm. That's certainly a possibility. But I think he's at least has some level of protection of the federal government. And what he says to Roderick in this scene is the amount of protection the federal government will give you is dependent entirely upon what you give it, right? So again, he's taking a larger risk here. I just want to keep that clear.
Yeah.
Now he's going to fuck over Dupont and he's going to do it to get what he wants. That's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. So I'm not arguing that Roderick Usher was an innocent person pushed into doing something he didn't want to do by Dupont, but that doesn't mean that Auguste Dupont is this perfect angel here.
Yeah, I think the element to add in to bring back what you said about the confrontation with his wife, or the questioning by his wife, is this is really not about him doing the right thing.
Yeah.
This is really Dupont has given him a excuse, we could say, to do something that is going to hurt this guy, and he wants to hurt this guy for personal reasons.
Yeah,
but this is not about ethics. And ultimately, when he does screw over Dupont, it's going to be, again, for personal reasons. It's been about personal reasons the whole time, is the point.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Excuse me. It's gonna be wild. But don't worry, he promises Annabelle that this is just to do the right thing. He promises her.
Yeah, and he's always honest, as we know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just want to say, the scene we get of Roderick in the basement photocopying the documents is the most Flanagan Famignari scene ever, because it's just this static shot of a hallway as a janitor walks down it, and it's so dark. Mm-hmm. It's so wonderfully dark. All I was thinking about while watching the scene was you, and thinking of our conversation with Mike and their love of true darkness.
Yeah.
Because it is a pitch black scene where just a little tiny bit of light. And even the scene where we go to Roderick in the room scanning the documents, where the only source of light in that entire room is the photocopier itself as it shines up, and it throws a shadow of Roderick as he kind of looms over it, and he's lit from the front. It makes a very dramatic moment of him standing over this copier doing this event. It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I was thinking about that as well, especially when the janitor closes the door and we have a moment of just total darkness. I think there might be a line under the door or something, but basically total darkness, and then Roderick turns the light on. I think I was slightly startled when he turned the light on, by the way. I thought that was good.
It's great stuff.
So just before we totally move away from the scene with Dupont and him, every episode we've had some amount of this particular scene, and most of the time it's cutting between shots of the two men, right? Back and forth, back and forth. And we talked a bit earlier about how maybe partly that was the practicality of having to replace the actor for Roderick.
Yeah.
But also I think to some degree that's got to be the choice of showing these people are at odds with each other. We're having them be, this guy was over here, this guy is over here. It's always left and right, it's always consistent. But then in the scene where they're talking about the expedition, and they're kind of joking around. It's one of the only times I can think of where the camera is back from them and you see them both in the same shot, and the camera has this like kind of warmth and aliveness to it where I feel like it's even moving a bit. And it's, to me, it's like, hey, these are just two men sitting around having drinks and sitting by the fire and hanging out. And I thought that was a cool way to cultivate that feeling.
No, I love that. I think that is in great contrast to the scene with the two of them at the beginning of the episode, which we haven't really talked about yet, where that scene has a lot of like frantic cutting back and forth as they're talking, but it's a cutting back and forth of them both in profile. So it's just a oneer for each of them. And that is a great contrast in later scene where they have that brief moment of bonding. I like that a lot. I wanted to talk about something. Thank you for reminding me. In that initial scene and kind of throughout the whole episode as I noticed it. So they're both sitting in these chairs and we have a lot of shots of them in profile, and they each have a gas lamp. I don't know, like if it's a gas lamp, I don't know what it is, but it's over their shoulder. And the one over Dupont's shoulder is static. It's just sitting there. The one over Roderick's shoulder is going like crazy. It's like flashing. It's like blinking. And I honestly don't know if this was a prop defect or what. It might have been one of those things where like it's the day of shooting. We got to shoot this scene. We're already running behind because we had to replace our principal actor 60% of the way into the production. We don't have time to fix this fucking lamp. Or it was just an intentional technique, because what it does, I think, is help represent the moods a little bit. That Dupont is this stable, still person, and as we've seen with Roderick throughout the course of the show so far, he's getting more manic, he's getting more intense, kind of more crazy, and this lamp like flickering constantly behind him just represents his mood and his tone and his whole persona right now. So maybe happy accident, maybe intentional prop move. I have no idea, but it really stuck out to me in this week's episode.
I'm just gonna go with that was they turned the gas down a bit so that it would flicker.
Yeah. Sure.
Cool.
In that scene though, so this is something that I forgot happened in the show, and I kind of love that we did it, because we have this moment where we do our very first scene with Tammy. And then we cut to Dupont going like, I have a question for you. You're talking to me about all this stuff. And in every single one of these scenes, the people are alone in their house. How could you possibly know this? And it's a great question that I don't think we ever thought to ask, right? Because I think in
before they
the
died.
kind of standard
Not before.
structure of a story that's being told from one person to another is that, like, yes, they are telling the story, but maybe we're making like an assumption that they're telling like an abridged version of the story, and we, the audience, are getting to see the complete picture. We're getting to see it all. But what this moment of this episode says is that no, every single thing that we have seen from the past has been Roderick Usher relaying this to Auguste Dupont. And we've learned that the way he knows all this stuff happened is because these horrible ghosts of his children that have been haunting him since they died are relaying that information to him. So I think it's so funny that it's like, that's a question that I wasn't really asking, because I was just running with the basic assumption of like, yeah, he's like telling the story, but he's not like, that's just like the framing device. He's not really like telling all of this, but no, he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like you said, we assume that artistic license is being taken, and then it's a reveal of like, oh no, every detail of this is being communicated, and it's because of the ghosts or the hallucinations.
Yeah. And that does transition nicely to the queen, the Pharaoh Tuseret scene where he holds the sapphires up to his eyes, Matt. Can I just say, once again, Bruce Greenwood. Doesn't he just nail this? I think he just nails this. Like, it's perfectly, like, he has this like very well-spoken, charming nature to him as he's relaying the story about how we got these sapphires. But like, you can see the edge of mania on it. I think part of it helps that his hair has like been stood straight up, but you can see like the mania on the edge of it. You can see how he's starting to lose it. You can see all of that, and Greenwood does that perfectly. And I just, once again, like, I cannot imagine anyone else in this role. And I have this really weird, morbid curiosity to see whatever, like, unedited dailies they had of Frank Langella's performance, because, like, I just can't imagine he seems like a shitty person, but is a fine actor. Like, I've enjoyed him in the roles he's done. So, like, I'm not saying he would have done a bad job in this role. We'll never know. But, like, I look at stuff like that and I just, like, I can't see anyone doing it quite like Bruce Greenwood does it here.
Yeah. I mean, he really nails the Edgar Allan Poe of it, where it's, like the character in The Telltale Heart, where you feel this deranged manic light in his eyes. And you're right, even when he's being charming and grandiloquent, there's this offness to him. It's great. It's what, or the Cask of Amontillado. Like, you feel like that kind of, like, okay, there's a hidden danger here. There's a lurking danger to this person that they're barely hiding with a cultivated sense of charisma.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's nailing it. Yes, I agree.
I also want to say the comparison of Queen Tuseret to Madeline was an interesting one, because I looked up this queen a little bit. She did not have a good time, Matt.
Okay.
She took over, I think, the 19th dynasty. I think she ruled for 3 years, and then they killed her, and she is the last of that line of Egyptian pharaohs. So, maybe not a great comparison, or maybe a great comparison. I don't know. We'll see.
Perhaps.
Yeah. I do like his line of, "I reached through time and plucked the eyes out of a goddess with my pocketbook and some patience. Does that make me a god? No. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, it doesn't make you a god. You bought off some people to get some shit that was stolen from the place that it deserves to be. Congratulations. No, you're not a god."
That's great.
What is with these god complexes in these people? No, you just have a lot of money. That's it.
Well, his sister never wants to die.
I do wonder, like, not to defend billionaires or anything, but I do wonder, like, how fucked up it is to just be in a place where, like, no one has any morals, and you get to experience, like, the lack of morality in other people because you have the resources to just buy them off, right? Like, can you imagine what it's like to go through life and just be like, no one will stick to their principles because I have enough money to overcome every principle every single person has, right? Like, even with his speech about how he got these things, he had to pay off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different organizations or whatever in order to just get this one birthday gift for his sister. And it's like, how fucking distorted of a view of humanity do you have to be when you know for a fact, because it has been every experience of your life so far, that if I do just throw enough money at a problem, ethics goes away, morality goes away, people bow down before the power of money. That's got to fuck you up. That's got to turn you, even if you didn't start that way, that does have to turn you into a terrible person eventually.
Yeah, I think it's just the generalized absolute power corrupts absolutely principle, which applies to politics just as well as great wealth. I think, yeah, like if you have so much power, then you like we're an animal that thrives based on feedback, right? If you do a thing and you get negative feedback for it, then you stop doing that. If you do a thing and you get positive feedback, you do more of it. Yeah. If you get positive feedback for all of your worst traits and you get no negative feedback, then you just inexorably become worse, and it's almost impossible to resist that, right?
Yep.
I just you said 19th dynasty, and I was like, how are there 19 dynasties? And I was like, that's got to be like the last dynasty, right? And then I looked up when the 19th dynasty was, and it was apparently the 1290 BC.
Matt, you go through a lot of dynasties when you're like just killing rulers a lot.
I guess so. I mean, some of these dynasties are relatively short, I guess, but some of them are longer. So, just imagine being in a place where they had that many dynasties.
Can I tell you? Can I
Uh-huh.
tell you a thing I stumbled into? This is sort of a tangent. A thing I stumbled into when I was doing a little research on Tuseret. I
Uh-huh.
found a Reddit post about this very episode of the show, in which someone was complaining about the show because it was a woke show that is falling into the trap that women make good leaders.
Oh, okay.
because this guy goes on about how like every time an Egyptian got in control in Egypt, the whole dynasty crashed.
Wow, that's like
And
really
I just-
really advanced misogyny.
it was
I'm-
incredible. I was like, and I forget what it said. Who had it used like TDS, Trump derangement syndrome in it. And I was like, oh, this is quality stuff here. This is quality trolling nonsense. And I think the first comment I saw in response to this before I just closed this and moved on with my life was someone saying, you don't know shit about Egypt. Oh, it was just delightful. It's just seeing you got to stay off Reddit. I need to stay off Reddit. But
Reddit's-
when I Google searching for Tuseret information and it pops up a Reddit thread, it's not my fault.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it has good information.
And then sometimes someone complaining about women don't make good leaders. See example, Tuseret of the 19th Egyptian dynasty who was overthrown and murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her fault.
Drop in facts on us about yeah. Apparently
The woke media wants you to think that the Egyptian women were good
Yeah.
leaders, but actually,
the
Jesus
woke
Christ.
the woke 19th dynasty. Apparently the pyramids of Giza were 1500 years old during the 19th dynasty. So
Jesus Christ.
history is too much. It's too
I
much.
I agree. And it's all woke now.
Yep. It's all woke.
So we kind of jumped past it, but I would like to go back to the Tammy and Bill scene and talk about that a little bit. Because I just like I feel so bad for Bill. I feel so bad for good old Bill T. He's trying so hard and he shows up because he heard that her sister died and he's just like, well, surely now she's not going to kick me out. She needs someone. And he wants to be there for her. And we see at the end of the episode, after like everything goes to shit, he's the only one that reaches out to her and he's desperately trying to call her and she just can't do it, man. She just can't do it. And even when she finally works up the courage to tell Bill how she feels, it's too late. He's already gone.
Yeah.
And it makes me very sad. Like I think Tammy Usher does kind of suck and she's cruel and mean to a lot of people. Her husband, like most of all. But it does very much feel like a tragedy to me too, of this woman who comes so close so many times to like doing the right thing or like seeking comfort in the people that do love her and care about her. And she just can't do it. It's like whether she hates herself too much, she doesn't believe that she deserves that. I think to say it, one thing that is very clear to me across every single one of these Usher children we've seen now is none of them is capable of love. And none of them understands what love is, and it's because they've never gotten it. Never.
Yeah. Yeah, you remind me about the role of Verna in this one. I don't know what exactly you said that pinged this off on me, but anyway, like Verna is very much trying to talk her down at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to the way that she tried to give various characters kind of an out. Almost every character, as we talked about.
Yeah.
This one, I almost felt like there was a borderline desperation, or like she actually cared, you could say.
Yeah.
She was like, you really don't have to do this. No one's making you do this. And I think the last thing she said was like, this isn't about you, which felt very cryptic. And I guess it's like, well, maybe it's about Roderick, but
Mm-hmm.
but it's interesting because I was like, okay, so she's saying it's not about you, but Tammy is doing this all to herself 100%. Like she is the one who is smashing these mirrors. No one else is smashing mirrors.
Yeah.
I mean, Verna is appearing in the mirrors, but you don't have to smash them.
Yeah.
So, it just seemed this seemed like one where it seemed more. I think it's because you said this is tragic. This one felt more tragic because even Verna, who was our character, who's the force of vengeance, is, kind of pulling her punches, kind of. I mean, and then stuff like the launch, right? We didn't really talk about the scene specifically, but the scene of the launch, right? The scene of
I was building up to it, but
Okay.
let's do it.
Yeah, this is a good time to do it, I think. So the scene of the launch itself, you could say that Verna kind of did this to her, but also you could say this is 100% just her insomnia hallucinations.
Yeah,
and no one is doing anything to her. Now Verna is obviously there because Madeline sees her.
but she's dressed differently. She reacts differently, right? Like, we have not seen Verna turn into spooky black dust before. That was new.
Correct.
So yeah, the Verna that is there dressed in the same outfit that the Tammy's dressed in, sitting in the audience, was that really Verna, or is that just Tammy hallucinating?
Yeah.
Candy the prostitute. Yeah.
I think it's my interpretation was when Tammy starts seeing the video of their sexcapades showing up on the monitors, that wasn't really happening. That was all in her head because nobody really reacts to it.
Yeah, they don't react
Yeah.
at all. They're all
Yeah.
just like messing with their Goldbug box. And
Yeah.
there's some very vulgar stuff on that thing that would make people look up.
Yeah, right. So she
For-
just appears
for-
to lose it and starts smashing stuff. Yeah.
For example, lick her asshole while she reads a book or answers some email.
Lick her asshole while she reads a book or answers. Turn it off!
The things Mike Flanagan makes you say out loud.
Uh-huh.
It's just great. Yeah, no, I love this whole launch scene. It is extremely cringe from the beginning. I will say the moment leading up to it, before we actually get to the launch itself, when we're with Madeline and Tammy in like the staging room ready to go on the stage, like it's really like she's the only one there to support her, and it's like the worst possible person to be there to support her, right? Because like she says, "Where's my dad? Where's Bill?" Like the fact that she's asking why Bill isn't there is hilarious. It's like, because Tammy, you made very clear that you didn't want him there, and you don't love him, and you never loved him, and you always were just using him, and this isn't his, it's yours now. That's why he's not there. But she's still a little sad that he's not there, and of course Roderick isn't there as well because he's down in the basement being a bum. And Madeline is like the fucking worst person because she's like, "Oh, Tammy, I see that you're nervous. Well, let me just make sure you understand how fucking important this is.
Yeah.
This is the most important thing. Our company desperately needs this. You have to do a good job, but don't be nervous."
Yeah. Break both legs.
And then when she says, "I miss him," right? She admits to her aunt, "I miss Bill. I miss my husband." And Madeline's response is, "Whatever it is you think you miss, you can get it anywhere." Just thanks, Madeline. Thanks for that. We actually learned, Matt, that Madeline was married before. This is the first time we learned that.
Yeah.
That she was married at some point and she enjoyed it. But then she ended the marriage because he wanted kids and she didn't want kids. And she describes getting over a love like that as a burp your heart goes through.
Mm-hmm.
So again, not the best person to seek for relationship advice.
Yeah.
Here.
Or a pep talk before a presentation. Really, just not the best person to seek for any reason.
Any reason at all.
Unless you need someone killed, I guess. You said she expects Bill to be there, and that's ridiculous. And that is obviously ridiculous to us. But I'm just realizing, like, the sadness of this is, in her mind, it's like, well, but your loved ones treat you like shit, and you just take it, and then you show up anyway because that's what family is. That's what love is.
Yeah.
In her mind is like, my dad can talk to me that way. Anybody else in my family can talk to me that way, and I come back to them. So why doesn't he come back to me?
Yeah.
And doesn't realize, like, no, man, that's not, like, you can't actually say stuff like that to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sad part is if she picked up the phone and called him, he would be there in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, he's like sitting there ready to go, waiting, hoping that she'll call him.
Yeah.
Of course she doesn't. So this is a pretty bad presentation, I would say. Pretty bad. Does not go well. I want to make the argument, though, that even if she hadn't like gone crazy and thrown a mic stand at her mother-in-law, or wait, no, stepmother. Sorry, stepmother. I don't know if this presentation would have gone over like great anyway, because the argument I'm about to make to you, Matt, is the presentation kind of sucks, irregardless of the things that go wrong. I think these PowerPoint slides are terrible. I think it just like they just got word. They're just like Tammy awkwardly standing there holding the box, and they've got word like curated luxury, custom built boxes, life changing product. Like none of these words mean anything actually.
Yeah, I mean they're the kind of emptiness you expect from a lot of marketing, really. But yeah, they're very generic, right? I mean, I don't want to sound like I think there's a way to do marketing correctly. I'll say it that way. And this is just very boring. And also she's
plain.
like,
it feels like her apartment. Like even the design of the PowerPoint slides, the design of all of it just seems very plain and safe and dull.
Yeah. I also feel like if Samantha Sloyan wanted to give a PowerPoint presentation in a way that was extremely compelling and charismatic, she could do that.
Yeah. Let me be clear. If Samantha Sloyan like called me on the phone tomorrow and said, I want you to spend $10,000 on this box, I would do it.
Yeah. So the point is she is performing a character who's doing a bad job at giving a presentation, right? Mm-hmm. She's clearly nervous. She's she's obviously stumbling over her words. In many places she's seeing stuff that totally distracts her and makes her have a really weird expression on her face. It's actually, I was cringing so hard. This is one of those like cringe. I can't even really look at the screen, type situations.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
I think another point about the presentation that we need to mention is that it was written for Bill to be the one doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so she's rehearsed, she's worked so long and hard on it. And by worked, I mean, she had a laptop open with paper spread around her. She's worked so hard on it that she has the presentation memorized, even though she is the one giving it now. And so there's these moments in there that don't make any sense for her to be saying the things because it was meant to be Bill saying it. Like the moment where she says, you know, I've been taking this and I both look and feel 10 years younger. She trips on that because she looks like shit because she hasn't been sleeping. Uh-huh. And to be clear, she looks like shit in like the Hollywood way of look like shit, where like Samantha Sloyan is a very beautiful woman and they've maybe put a little bit of makeup on her to make her look a little tired, but that still it comes through.
They've made her hair look a little wild. Yeah.
Yeah. But like she has to change that in the moment. There was also a moment that like goes unremarked upon, but I think was another like remnant of this is supposed to be a presentation that Bill and maybe Tammy together are giving. There's this moment where she says, look under your seats and find out what we have built for you. And she even like still does the thing where she pauses and emphasizes the built. Built-y. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that would have like killed if it was Bill T saying that.
I just put together, like, do you think this episode is kind of a Black Swan homage in some ways? Because like we have the motif of her seeing her doppelganger in the mirrors. Mm-hmm. And then we have the idea of like this all culminates in a grand presentation in front of everyone that we're, you know, and but it's a disaster actually.
Yeah. Wait, are you trying to say that the performance at the end of Black Swan wasn't a perfect performance?
Well, it was a great performance, but there were some problems.
I mean, she died. Oh, sorry. Spoilers. Yeah. Spoilers for Black Swan. No, I could see that as being a source of inspiration for kind of the look and how everything plays out.
Yeah well, sure. the doppelgangers and mirrors thing was definitely a thing I was thinking about, and Black Swan and the creepiness of mirrors there, obviously.
Yeah. This is kind of a great way to talk about Juno a little bit, because Juno Usher gets a lot in this episode. And the reason why I'm using this as a transition point is because Juno Usher is the only human being that came to this thing just simply to support her family member.
Uh-huh.
That's what she's there for. That's it.
The comedic cruelty of her throwing the mic stand at her. It's just
Well, and the whole thing is like the place that Verna has selected to appear is right behind where Juno is sitting. So every time she pauses and glares, every time she says something, every time she does something, everyone, including Juno, thinks it's being done to her.
yeah.
That's why when she looks at the box under her seat, she turns to the guy next to her, who I'm not clear if she knows or not, and says, "There's probably going to be poo in."
Mine's full of poo.
I think she doesn't. I think she's just wants to talk to somebody. Honestly,
Yeah.
she probably doesn't know anybody here at all.
I feel so bad for this poor character, and this is one thing that I think the show does. It's so many great scenes in this episode. We've been bouncing all over the place, but let's make sure we hit this. Juno waking up alone in her bed because Roderick has spent the night at the office, walking around this huge canaverous house. Like, but I mean, and I think, by the way, I said canaverous, cavernous. I think, by the way, we are echoing. Me saying using that word again reminded me of that. We are echoing Juno's experience and Tammy's experience, right? Like these are two women that are actually going through a very similar thing in that they are desperate for the love of this man who doesn't actually give a shit about them, and are seeking him out and looking for him and unable to find him. And Tammy thought like, and she's also looking for Bill as well. Like that is there, but they're very similar in these moments. And then we get that wonderful scene where they bump into each other and Juno kind of opens up to her, and like Tammy has been so mean to Juno throughout the course of the show, right? The why is it talking? It really shouldn't be talking line is just so incredibly cruel. But then we get this moment of Juno opening up to her and being like, all these terrible tragedies are happening. And like, I thought this would be finally get Roderick to come closer to me. And it's done the exact opposite. He's never been further away. And then she talks about how when she joined this family, she was so excited because she never had a family. She's never had a place to belong. She's never had a group. And this family's so big that, I'm so excited to be part of that. But everyone excluded her and she's all alone. And even Tammy in this moment feels for her.
Really part of something,
Of course, she can't do anything about it. Like the most she does is be like, "I'm sorry about him not answering your phone call. He does that to everyone. It's not just you." But there's a moment there right before she leaves where the camera just sits on Tammy for like 8 seconds, and it's just sitting on her, and we get to see Samantha Sloyan do her thing, where her face makes like 13,000 different emotions over the course of like 8 seconds. And some of them are her desperately trying to force herself to maybe say something of kindness and compassion to this woman who is so desperate for a place to belong, to say something, to say anything, to say, "Hey, me too," to say, "I feel like you feel," to say, "Hey, maybe we should support each other." These two women in this Usher family surrounded by these men who do not give a shit about us. There's commonality there. We're both going through similar things. Maybe we could support each other in that. And she can't do it. Of course she can't do it. But fuck, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was an important humanizing moment for Tammy here because, like you said, she's been uniquely cruel to Juno, and her being even just passably human for a moment is actually remarkable. Yeah. It's one of the few times when you feel like maybe the character just almost gets it, but it's too late. It's too late.
Yeah. I also find something so incredibly tragic to the idea that Juno is this woman so desperately looking for someplace to belong that she looks at the Usher family and says, "Man, I wish I was part of that group," because that group is filled with people that are fucking terrible to each other. They spar with each other, they manipulate each other, they treat each other like shit. They are awful to each other, and Juno still is so desperate for a place that she's like, "Yeah, I kind of want that though. I wish I was part of that. I wish I was part of that group. They still exclude me no matter what."
Yeah. I mean, and and also they do their best to exclude each other, right? I mean, the true-born children ostracize the bastards have their own hierarchy. I'm using Game of Thrones terms because I don't know what other words to use. Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. One other thing I wanted to connect with the scene, like a visual thing we do, both with Tammy and with Juno, is we several times throughout this episode conclude scenes on this wide shot that has one of these women sitting by themselves in this empty space, and we hold on that shot for a very long time, and then we actually do a J cut where we have the dialogue from the next scene bleed into this scene, and I think that's just like an excuse to hold on the shot just a little bit longer to really emphasize how alone these women feel, how separated and apart from everything they feel, that we just, like, it happens I think 3 or 4 times in the episode. We just have this wide of them very small and tiny and alone in the frame. It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
But Tammy's dead.
Tammy's dead.
She got guillotined by a shard of mirror.
Yep.
This kids is why you don't have freaky sex mirrors on your.
That's right.
On your ceiling.
And she got stabbed. I love that we got the extra shot of her getting stabbed in the back with the other shard of glass before the other one hit her in the neck. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you loved that.
I love that. I like to think that. Yeah.
Call
I
it
do
back.
just want to say, we talked about the end where Carla Gugino is desperately telling her,
Sorry, I treated
call
you
Bill, you owe it to him to tell him you're sorry and you shouldn't have treated him that way. And then she says the phrase, "Man ate a lot of ass on your behalf," which is like only Mike Flanagan. Only with Mike Flanagan could you tune in to hear Carla Gugino say the phrase, "Man ate a lot of ass on your behalf."
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. Just wonderful.
It is.
It's a gift. It's a gift to the world. I think we have to talk about Frederick, though, Matt. We haven't actually talked about what Frederick does in this episode. We kind of talked around it a bit.
He's just taking care of his wife.
Oh, yeah. You don't need doctors. The best person to take care of her is us, right?
Yeah. They'll come if they're needed.
He's terrifying. He's absolutely terrifying in this episode.
Yes. His being suddenly terrifying is a great surprise, great twist.
Just shows to go you.
Shows to go you.
But it just shows to go you.
So
You can never
for
really
those that maybe have forgot,
anyone.
Joe Colley in Midnight Mass says that line. And when that happened, I think for 5 minutes in the episode, I hijacked the entire episode to be like, I swear to God, I've heard a Mike Flanagan character say that line before. And I can't remember where it is. I found it. Just a few months later,
yeah.
I found it.
Yeah, we found it. Shows to go you.
I think I read somewhere that's just like he heard it in a movie somewhere, and it's just a line he really likes. And it is interesting in the Joe Colley version of it. It was not to be read as sinister, right? It was just kind of this aw shucks guy. But when Henry Thomas gets his hands on the line, it shows to go you. It becomes the most sinister, like manic possible thing to say in the moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun to use it in very different tones. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's drugging his wife. Matt, how do you feel about this?
Oh, I feel bad.
Because if you're talking,
he's drugging her.
lying.
I mean, what's even worse, like somehow it's worse to me that like he obviously plans on sort of paralyzing her so that he can torture her, but we don't know how yet, which is worse for me. It's worse that I'm going to have to go a whole week. Well, I went a whole week already, not knowing what he's going to do to her, and like just leaving it to our imagination, much like I guess it's left to her imagination.
Yeah.
And she is capable of speech now, but he's not listening to anything she's saying, even though she's kind of trying to explain herself.
Yeah, like he was so desperate to find out what she was doing and why she was there, and by the time she's actually capable of answering those questions, he's so far gone that he's not even actually interested to hear those. Like, why? There's no point in you opening your mouth because all that's going to come out are lies. He's gone so insane. The cocaine is not helping. He's continuing to snort the cocaine, not helping in this at all. But yeah, he's using the nightshade that was given to Vic to paralyze their monkeys. which is not an approved narcotic, and it is working to completely paralyze poor why do I keep reading her name? Morella Usher. Poor Morella Usher. But a paralytic that also allows you to remain completely conscious during the entire thing. So you get to observe and watch, and it's very important to him that she gets to see him during all of this. I will remind you that there's the scene in the previous episode where he brings some flowers and she brings like an actual plant. Lenore brings an actual plant, and Lenore says something to the effect of like, I think it's something to the effect of like, it's like, I don't think a person in this condition would like want to just sit there and watch flowers die. So now that's what Frederick is doing. He's just gonna sit and watch her die, torture her like she's a flower.
That's the plan anyway.
Yeah,
We'll see how that works out for him.
I mean, let's just say the name of the next episode is The Pit and the Pendulum. So I'm sure it's gonna be fine, Matt.
Yeah, everyone involved is going to have a great time.
It is really interesting to see Lenore kind of at the center of this. You know, this character who I think you clocked immediately in the first episode is out of all the ushers is the one that just seems like the best. She's good. We do get like several recurring beats where she's like kind of constantly like asking questions of like, "Hey, are we okay? Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And like she's just getting like just placated again and again. Is like, "No, you're fine. You're fine." And I think what the really interesting is that she's worried about her dad. She's worried about her mom. She's worried about her grandfather after she comes and visits him. She's actually shown very little specific concern for herself. Like, I'm sure that's there, but like, it is funny watching every usher she goes to and talks about this just reassures her that no, you will be safe, because to the ushers, selfishness is the name of the game, right? Like, all you care about is yourself. So if someone is coming to me saying they're concerned, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. You are going to be fine. That's not what she's worried about. She's worried about everyone else. And no one is listening to her.
Yeah, and she's one of the only ones who's perceptive enough to see that the ushers are being bumped off.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't know that it's supernatural, and it's sort of the innocence of a child thing. Or maybe it's her psychic powers. Yeah.
What? Huh?
Sabra.
That's Matt. It's Lenore.
Oh, sorry. She's that strong, Scott. She's that strong. She can operate between properties.
That would be very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I feel like maybe she'll be more active in how this unfolds with her dad dying specifically, is what I mean by this. Like, because he's going to die. We know that already.
Yeah.
But like, is it because of some action that she takes? Because that would be kind of even more horrible in a way. Like maybe she intervenes to save her mom somehow, and that causes her dad to die.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I do like. There's a couple of moments that I really loved with her. Like, so when they first learn about Victorine's death, and Frederick is trying to explain why it happened, and he basically says something to the effect of like, well, your aunt was a very ambitious woman, so something like this was bound to happen. And Lenore gives this like incredulous look of like, what the fuck are you talking about to her dad?
What does that mean?
So good.
Yeah.
Because what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Well, you know, she was a very ambitious, so you know, this is just what happens to women when they're ambitious. They kill themselves and their lover. Sure.
And she says, I love his phrasing. I think he says like none of them were right.
Yeah,
which is interesting because he's definitely not right. You know, he's
just vague enough to be creepy.
Yeah. The very Poe choice of words.
Yeah. And she she gets snapped at. Right, he confronts her while he's back to bowling on his shitty little bowling alley, which. No human being has ever celebrated a spare as much as Frederick Usher celebrates picking up that spare while his wife is lying, suffering in the other room.
Yeah, no onlookers, just totally privately celebrating the spare. Yeah,
wearing full biz casual. I just like he's like I understand bowling is not like the most strenuous activity, but like I don't know. I've gone bowling in business casual before because it was like a happy hour thing after work. It's not as fun to be in slacks and a button down while bowling. I would prefer to be in like looser, nice, like more casual fitting clothing. He's at his home. He can change. Fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing he does is wear business casual while bowling in his home bowling alley.
This bothers you a lot, I know. Yeah.
Next to the kitchen for some fucked up reason. Remember when you were like,
it's so wholesome.
Next to the kitchen because he loves being with his family.
Yeah. Everything about this character is so wholesome. Look, I mean, we saw some hints of it, but I don't think the coke is helping, you know? I don't think the guy knows how to handle his cocaine.
I think one of the things that we kind of tossed around in an earlier episode was the idea that to Frederick, showing himself as being the perfect family man is like part of it, is part of what he thinks is going to make him, his dad, like love him. Like, I mean, literally every time Roderick Usher sees Lenore, he says, "Oh, it's my favorite." Right. Mm-hmm. And so it is clear that Roderick Usher, for whatever reason, doesn't give a shit about his kids, but is really invested in his granddaughter. Mm-hmm. And so just Frederick probably responds to that in a way as like, oh, I have to be the perfect dad. And so he was keeping up appearances of being the perfect dad. We make ships and bottles together. And I don't go out bowling on a Wednesday night. I bowl right here in the house.
Yeah. I wouldn't stray like my wife.
Yeah, my damn wife who didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, there's an interesting I mean, let's take that slightly more seriously for a second. Like he puts a lot of energy into this facade of we're this perfect happy family. Look at me in my bowling alley, and then his wife, you know, shatters this image that he has put all this energy into crafting. Mm-hmm. It's the same theme with several of the Usher children's image, and he's like, I gave you everything, and I set all this up and like you've ruined this picture that we this facade that we had built, and that's really the crime, I think.
Yeah, I like that. The idea that, like, you know, we know Roderick Usher has Annabelle Lee and has kind of put her on a pedestal, right? Of, you know, he had never married again until Juno. This is the first original wife and mother, and I wonder if Frederick is chasing his version of that. Is like, I am trying to be just like my dad. I'm trying to follow in my dad's footsteps in every single way. And one of that ways is I'm going to find a woman and fall in love with her. And we're going to create this perfect family unit, just like my dad did. Only I'm going to surpass him in that because I'm going to do it successfully. Like, we still don't know what happened to Annabelle Lee, but we know that it's not around anymore. And yeah, that throws his fragile ego into complete disarray because she's not the perfect woman. She's not his Annabelle Lee. She's someone else.
Yeah. Cool.
I can't get over, I'm just realizing that like Morella and Annabelle kind of close together. Sort of. Not really. I'm trying here, Matt.
Yeah. I see what you're going for.
Yeah. I think those are all the big things I wanted to talk about, Matt. This is a very stuffed episode. Lots going on here. I think we hit all of it pretty good.
I think so. It was interesting. We spent a lot of time talking about. Was that Jesus Christ?
Are you okay?
I think.
Are you haunted?
I think I'm haunted by a certain device that's in my other room that scared the absolute shit out of me just now. Yes, let me get control over my heart rate for a moment. Yeah. No, I think I hit all the major points. We kind of meandered around a bit in some places. I think with intention, though. We were following certain thematic lines.
Mm-hmm. One thing I did want to make sure we hit was just some fun stuff where Morella and Lenore are watching a movie on the TV, and it is a movie featuring a pendulum. So some people, I think, have attributed this to the 1961 film The Pit and the Pendulum. It's not, though. It's a 1935 film called The Raven, which is a movie that I believe that was... oh gosh, who was in that one? I think it's Bela Lugosi. Yeah, it's Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff were in this movie. It borrows a lot of stuff from Poe stories, including a pendulum from The Pit and the Pendulum. So it's a little bit of ominous foreshadowing there, Matt.
It's ominous, but we do in the scene the man who is being pendulum to get saved at the last second. So
yeah, well, just like The Pit and the Pendulum, which is exactly how it's going to work for Freddy, right?
Well, my assumption is he's going to try to pendulum his wife, and then he's going to get pendulumed by the pendulum accidentally.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. So. I also want to say, I don't know if you noticed this, but as they finish up watching The Raven, they are scrolling through Netflix to pick another film, and they scroll by a little movie called Gerald's Game.
I did.
Which causes my brain to explode and be like, but what if they clicked play on that?
And then their father was there. Yeah.
Being a fucking creep.
Yeah.
How would they?
They click play, and Frank Langella is the character.
Fucking got him.
I think there's another. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit here, but that is a movie about a woman being chained to a bed, which is what's happening to the mom.
Yeah, Morella. Yeah, I mean,
Morella.
Let's just say like there's a lot of Mike Flanagan things on Netflix that they could have picked for that moment, and they picked the one that is fitting for the perfect reasons.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some other poems quoted in this that we didn't necessarily talk about. Roderick Usher quotes "Dream Within a Dream."
Is but a dream,
which is a beautiful poem.
Within a dream.
All that we see or all that we seem is nothing but a dream within a dream, which is a great poem. And then he also quotes a poem a short story called Eleanor, where he says, "Those who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night." And then later, Madeline quotes that same short story when she's talking about whether or not she's insane or not. I'm scrolling to see, because I wrote that down. I'm scrolling to see where it is, but
maybe men have called me mad.
Basically,
but the question is not yet settled as to
where
whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence.
Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled as to whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence. That was the one moment. So like, I think Roderick, like, making up poetry is like a Roderick thing to do, right? We've seen him do that in the past. Roderick doing it in the present, I think, shows a certain connection to that version of himself that we haven't seen in a while. There was a moment where I was like, why did Madeline just say that? You know?
I guess she's megalomaniacal, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really strike you as poetry when you just say it like that.
Well, that quote is not from a poem. It's from a short story. So yeah, I think it's also weird. And I don't know if this is like a Netflix mistake or something, but when a person says a quote in subtitles, it will usually italicize the subtitle to like show visually that this is not a person just speaking dialogue, but a person quoting something. And it did that when Roderick both quoted "Dream Within a Dream" and when he did his quote from Eleanor. And it did it again when Madeline did it here. And I'm like, are we to understand specifically that she is quoting something or not?
Maybe she's quoting Edgar Allan Poe, man. I don't know. I mean,
this to be clear, this doesn't matter. Like, this doesn't matter. But it just made me curious.
I mean, I wonder, like, we're assuming that we're meant to interpret that he's making up a poem about Annabelle Lee, but it could just be that he knows the poem Annabelle Lee from Edgar Allan Poe, and then he married a woman named Annabelle Lee, and so he sometimes quotes the poem at her, right? Like, these could.
So what you were positing is that in the universe of the show, Edgar Allan Poe existed and wrote all of his works.
Yes, and that Roderick Usher finds it very amusing. And this is why everyone keeps naming his kids after Poe characters, is because they're like, he likes Poe. Don't say that this is why we did it, but we're going to name everybody after Poe characters.
Is it really weird that we got this lawyer named Arthur Gordon Pym and he also went to the North Pole, just like in that story written by Edgar Allan Poe?
It is weird.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not weird.
Has anyone noticed that all of my children are dying kind of similar to Poe story? I mean, not exactly, but kind of similar.
I mean, it would be funny if that was the twist in the next episode, is if they were just like, did you know that this is all based on an Edgar Allan Poe story collection? Like, well, we knew that. I mean, I knew that. You weren't supposed to figure that out.
The characters have like a stupid 5-minute Reddit argument about what adaptation versus inspired by means.
And they're like, who do you think is directing us?
That's how we get to the Dark Tower.
That's great.
Okay, that's what I wanted to do. I actually, one more thing. The very end of the episode is Tammy sitting on the bed saying, I fucked it all up.
Yeah.
I fucked it all up. And I just want to sleep.
I fucked it all up.
Verna finishes, and that's when she looks up and hits the mirror and killed herself. But
I fucked it all up.
I just isn't that a moment of maybe the first time in all 5 of these character deaths that a character has a moment of clarity at the end? Because I think there's a read of that. I was sometimes I like to read what other people think of these episodes before we sit down and record, because I'm just curious. So I just go through the internet and see, there are sites out there that do episode recaps, and I like to read them. And I was reading one that said, and this shows that even at the end, Tammy is still just thinking about how she messed up the Goldbug presentation. And I was like, no, I don't think that's what I fucked it all up means at the very end there. I think she's talking about everything: her life, her relationship with Bill, the choices that she's made, the things that she's done. I don't think it's as simple as that one thing. It's everything. She's looking at her life and she's just saying, I fucked it all up. And that is a moment of recognition at the end. That is a moment of realization at the end that none of the other characters I think have fully had.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I just feel like she had a different level of tragedy to her death than they did. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, Tammy Usher, great person.
Yeah, we'll miss her.
Would you get a Goldbug box if we decided to shift our entire merch operation into getting very personalized Goldbug boxes for everyone? You think we would have a hit on our hands with that?
I'm sure we would. You can get a whole half ounce of black truffle eye cream for the low price of $320.
Wow.
I just found this online. I went through a bit of a black truffle face cream rabbit hole while we were talking, just so you know.
Cool.
I like that Google these days, if you search black diamond truffle extract, the first 2 pages are just basically ads, but not revealing themselves to be.
It's just the internet these days, man. It's
yeah,
great.
It's a shame.
It's what Al Gore envisioned when he invented it.
And if you wanted to set out to be can we find out that does this do anything at all?
Yeah.
You could not find that out on it anymore.
Well, I bet you if I Google does black diamond truffle oil work, Google Gemini would be happy to give me a terribly incorrect answer.
I think you're right.
Are you testing it right now?
It works by boosting cellular energy and defending the skin against environmental stressors like UV damage.
So it's sunscreen.
Yeah, anything that says boosting cellular energy is
I mean,
it is snake oil, yes.
It's expensive sunscreen. It protects you from UV light.
That's not even why you're okay. Never mind. We're not doing it.
Light, yeah,
we're not going there.
How much is a Goop? Does Goop sell boxes? Goop box. This is great podcast content.
This is good.
Curated gift boxes, starter sets, and DIY kits for every type of person. The Goop Home Wellness Box is only $265.
Okay, that's not bad.
And I bet you it's not as personalized as the Goldbug box.
I found another sort of thing, not Goop, for $1,700.
Oh,
So that's nice.
what's that called?
You know, I don't want to get
no
sued.
free ads. No free ads.
Yeah, I don't want to get sued, so I'm not gonna mention it.
I am constantly struggling with my great love and respect for Gwyneth Paltrow as an actress, and as the namesake of our company. But also, this wellness box is ridiculous. Oh, and I can't even buy it anymore. That link leads to an empty page. The Goop box is dead.
That's a shame.
Okay, please don't sue us, Goop.
Yeah.
I loved Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, I love 7.
Fuck.
All right.
I think that's going to do it for episode 6, Goldbug. Perfect way to end it. I love 7.
All right. Discussion question from last week was, what's your favorite killer cat? Baby Can You Dig Your Sam says, Stephen King's Sleepwalkers is a batshit crazy movie that focuses on a pair of incestuous shape-shifting felines who survive on the blood of female virgins. Ironically, the one thing that hurts these creatures is a house cat. And in this film, that cat is Clovis, a house cat who knows what's up with these creatures and is the true action hero of the film. In addition to protecting our heroine, he also rallies all the neighborhood cats to attack the Sleepwalkers' lair. This movie is also special because of the myriad of cameos: Joe Dante, Toby Hooper, Clive Barker, John Landis, Ron Perlman, and Usher's own Pym. Yes, Mark Hamill shows up in this movie. Cool. Kind of reminds me of the cat in that other King collection movie.
What could that be called?
We watched it for
Yeah, I'm fucking with you. It's called Cat's Eye.
Cat's Eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that.
There's Drew Barrymore in it.
Yep. And it had a creepy little goblin. I loved it.
Yeah, that cat fucked that goblin up.
It's great.
Save Drew Barrymore.
Yep.
Pear Jane says, you said killer cat, and I immediately remembered every word to a delightful song we sang in middle school choir called The Cat Came Back. It had good harmonies, which is maybe why Miss Cinco had us sing it so often, but the last version is just creepy as fuck. The man round the corner said he'd shoot the cat on sight. He loaded up his gun with nails and dynamite. He waited and he waited for the cat to come around. 97 pieces of the man was all they found. All they found, all around the ground. It's the baritone all around the ground that really gets me. Maybe Flanagan had to sing it in school too. I weirdly remember singing this song in theater class. I don't know why.
I don't remember a part where a guy blows himself up with his gun.
I don't remember that either. But if you're going to stick dynamite in your gun, you probably deserve to be blown up.
I just remember my favorite part of the song is like the end where something happens where you're like, the cat's got to be dead now. And then like there's a pause and then it goes, and the cat came back. And it's great. Look, great song. Great song. I agree. All right. Cat Shuts Up Reed says, what? Joe.
There's a lot of accents on this thing.
I'm just gonna say it American wise. Joe Lacoteur or Yola Kotor, something like that, is the epitome of not just killer cat stories, but any Christmas tradition ever. Yule Cat, which is what Yola Kotor. Okay, probably like Yola Kotor.
Maybe next time lead with Yule Cat.
Yule Cat translates to is a massive cat that roams the Icelandic countryside during the Christmas season and eats people, specifically children, who aren't wearing new clothes that they received. Good kitty. Bonus favorite is Ghost Cats of the South, which is a collection of stories about cats who are ghosts. Not all of them. One smells like soup and guides lost musicians to safety, but still valid. Yeah, see, I love traditions that are just like, do what I told you to, child, and then or you will be eaten by the blank.
Yeah, the Yule Cat. Yeah.
The Yule Cat. Yeah.
I feel like we lost something when we transitioned the punishment from just getting coal in your stocking, which, you know, at some point was like a good gift that would heat your home.
Yeah, I always give my children coal in their stockings.
I'm going to tell my son he's got to behave or the Yule Cat's going to get him.
Yeah, and put on his new clothes. My children never want to put on their new clothes. I should tell them about the Yule Cat. I mean,
They're fucking kids.
They're all quite old now, but I can still tell them.
You just do it. Let me know how that goes. Sandy Bones says his fangs are sharp. He likes your taste. Your party better move post haste. This kitty didn't get to kill anyone, but he sure tried his damnedest. I am of course referring to the lion in Jumanji. The slow roll reveal is such a well executed, frightening scene. It starts with seeing the tail hitting the high notes of the piano with the shadow of the lion in the background. Then his huge paws strike the low keys as he descends. You hear his low guttural growl from the darkness as he slowly steps into the light, revealing his face of this absolute terror. The animatronics and puppetry that brought this creation to life are phenomenal. That is the coolest cat in any movie ever, and my love of practical effects definitely doesn't make me biased. Hold on. You telling me you gonna sit here and tell me that the lion in Jumanji was not CG?
I think maybe it had some CG parts, but I just looked up the images while you're talking and it looks pretty dang practical. A lot of it is like sitting on things just being, terrifying. I buy it. It's incredible. It's a great design. I mean, yeah, it looks pretty practical now that I look at it. That's awesome.
I just assumed it was a real lion.
Well, I knew it wasn't a real lion, but it's a great looking, terrifying lion.
Sometimes you're such an asshole. Well, I mean, I knew it wasn't a real lion.
I may have been a child, but I wasn't a stupid child.
Look, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. I don't even know if I'm remembering the correct thing.
You should show your kids and scare the hell out of them.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this will eliminate me from ever needing to play board games again.
That's a good idea. All right. Hobo Demon said, I'm between two cats. On the one hand, the cat from Tremors is solid and reliable and can pull damn near anything. But when faced with unusual terrain features, it does not do the one thing cats are supposed to be good at and instead flips over like buttered toast. In contrast, the catenary wires powering the trolley cars and the public transportation system of Who Framed Roger Rabbit are too good for legally distinct from Robert Moses to allow to exist. And that's an example of being able to judge a character by the quality of their antagonists, if I've ever heard of one. Noteworthy third place is a tie between every cat in Roar, the 1981 film in which Tepi Hedren did the classic PTSD thing of creating the circumstances of her trauma from the production of The Birds, and shows more fear at sudden movements from a random sparrow than from the presence of a wildly irresponsible number of big cats.
I feel like I never saw Roar, but I think I saw a documentary at Fantastic Fest about Roar, and it's like crazy that, like, you know how I was joking around about how they had a real lion on the set of Jumanji?
Uh-huh.
Well, that was a movie in which they just used lions, and like a bunch of people got hurt because they're fucking giant cats with sharp claws. It's crazy shit, man. You should look it up. It's just insane.
Yeah. I went to the zoo the other day and turned my back to the tigers to see if they would try to kill me.
Did they?
They did not.
It's disappointing.
Yeah. All right. I'll go through the rest of these answers real quick. Aqualungfish said the film Unveiled, featuring a cat that vomits up smaller monster cat puppet to kill people. That sounds... Sorry, Uninvited. My eyes just completely... The film was Uninvited. I don't know. Anyway, Uninvited is the movie. Thank you. House of Seven Paws says the Hong Kong film The Cat, featuring Space Cat with martial arts skills in a kung fu fight against a dog. That sounds fun. DJ Nedelko says Dr. Claw's mad cat from Inspector Gadget. Never seen killing anybody, but clearly has blood on its mind. Yeah, I always kind of felt like the cat was really the brains behind that operation. Apocalypse Win 7 says Cat People, featuring a woman who transforms into a deadly panther when aroused. Cool. For Posting Cats is literally the name of this account. For Posting Cat says Eye of the Cat, about a gang of cats sending a wheelchair down San Francisco Hill. And then they also, of course, add Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, which is the correct answer that we were waiting for this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
The Man in Black 19 says Scar from Lion King as a manipulative killer cat with a high direct body count. OK Row 2424 says Church from Pet Sematary, technically a killer cat whose burial triggered all the subsequent horrors. Yeah, that's true. Technically correct. Does the cat directly kill anyone, or is it more of a we'll give credit?
It's around.
Yeah. Remove Beneficial 1335 says Sandman's Dream of 1,000 Cats as a beautifully brutal tale. Lorietta 54 says the unnamed cat from Coraline who travels between worlds and aids escapes. Yes, I love that cat. It's a great cat. Bent Westward says Roar, the most dangerous movie ever made with 70 real injuries on set. Yeah, you were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Scarlet Claret says The Ghost and the Darkness lions for their malicious intentionality. That's the one about like the actual lions who were actually man killers, I believe. I mean, it's a movie, but it's about a story of a thing that happened where there were killer lions. Yeah.
Yep. I remember seeing that.
Shortstop 88 says Princess Donut from Dungeon Crawler Carl. Yes.
She does kill.
Now that we've finally read Dungeon Crawler Carl, I have to say that Princess Donut is pretty high up in my rankings of fictional cats.
Well, you haven't read the additional 7 novels, sir, so you don't even know what she's fully capable of.
That's true.
So you can't put her in your ranking until you've read every word of it.
Yeah, I guess I got no rejoinder to that. So
I haven't either. It's fine.
Odin's Ghost 31 says Khajiit from Skyrim. Sorry, no. Khajiit is the race, I guess, and Gary is the character from Skyrim.
I don't know. I've never played Skyrim.
Yeah.
Please don't judge me.
Yeah, me neither. Drow Ranger 1919 says Gwyn Hivar from R.A. Salvatore's Dark Elf books, a 600-pound magical panther summoned from the astral plane. Wow, what a surprise to get this answer from Drow Ranger 1919.
That's great. I love all these answers. I do just want to say that, Apocalypse Wind mentioned the 1942 film Cat People. Little film trivia for you there. That is where the Luton bus was first utilized, which is just a fancy word for a jump scare.
Oh, okay.
It was directed by a man named Luton, and he had a bus pop out of nowhere to do a jump scare, and that's where the term that's where it comes from.
Isn't there like a YouTube channel called Luton Bus or something like that?
Probably. I don't know.
True story.
That was great. That was fun. Thank you, everyone. Cats are cool.
Yeah.
Especially when they murder people or are robots.
Yeah. Yep.
Matt, what are we asking people next week?
Favorite mirror people?
Mirror people.
There are a lot of them.
Only one of you is allowed to pick Oculus. So go now.
Yeah. Fergie.
No, there's so many, like, mirrors are such fantastic things for horror. There's a lot of fun, creepy things we could talk about here. I think this would be a fun discussion.
Yeah, me too.
But that's going to do it for us this week. There's only one Usher child left, Matt, as we swing our way into the penultimate episode of The Fall of the House of Usher, The Pit and the Pendulum.
It's great. Remember, you can reach us via email at flanaganswakepod@gmail.com or over on X at flanaganswake19, on the subreddit at reddit.com/r/doofmedia, and on Instagram at doofmedia. Also, don't forget that every episode can be found on video on YouTube and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave us a comment letting us know what you think, and enjoy.
Yeah, and please, if you want to wear some great merchandise to support Goldbug, you can head on over to doofmedia.myshopify.com, where you can actually find the wonderful Get Built shirt we have for sale there right now. My wife got her tank top in the mail the other day. It looks awesome. It looks really great. You can also get the lemon speech mug, #lemon on a mug. It's like one of my favorite things that Jody has designed. Lots of cool stuff over there. More stuff going to be added. Check it out. We just enjoy sharing all this stuff with you. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you like our show and you want to support us, then please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/doofmedia. Just a deluge of exclusive content and other stuff going on over there on the Patreon.
So much stuff. Guys, check it out. And also, it's just a great way to communicate with us over there. Send us a DM. We'll respond usually pretty quickly. So
yeah, and you can sign up as a free patron and still get a lot of the benefits of membership. So
for sure,
get a free membership. Just follow what's going on. Don't necessarily have to pay to be in the loop on every cool thing that's happening over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But of course, if you don't want to do that, or you cannot afford to support us right now, there are other ways to help us out, as there always are. You can share the podcast. Please keep sharing the podcast wherever you can. And please continue to leave us rating and reviews. Matt, I was going to read a review from the great country of Belgium, who just yesterday fucking kicked our ass in the World Cup. But we have no reviews from Belgium. So I guess we win on that one, guys. But so I went over to our friends up north again in Canada. This review comes from Lestat de Valois. I think it's like the stage name of Lestat from Anne Rice's stuff. So it's Lestat. It's the vampire Lestat. He listens to our show.
Awesome.
We did it. We made it.
Yay.
Lestat says, 5 stars, company for the long days. It's spooky season again. This review was written in October of last year. Pay no attention. It's spooky season again, and in celebration, I rewatched the Flanagan series. This year, I wished for a little company on my journey, and when searching, quote, a good Flanagan podcast, good in all caps, up popped Flanagan's Wake, and I am loving every minute. Thought-provoking and compelling, and I've become that person who casually brings up podcasts and random conversations just to remember the podcast. Have moved on to Kingslingers to fill the days between the new episodes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, that's wonderful to hear. I'm also great that the $3 million we slipped to Google to include us on searches for a good Flanagan podcast finally paid off. So appreciate it.
Yeah, I take back everything I said.
Thank you to the vampire Lestat. What a great guy. And thank you to everyone else who has continued to send those rating and reviews in. We really do appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, folks, that is it. 1 more episode down, 2 more episodes to go. We'll see you back here next week for The Pit and the Pendulum. Until then, don't hit a mirror with a bat. Don't hit mirrors.
Why would you do that?
Don't do it. Why?
Stop.
Come on, man. Maybe get less mirrors. I think all houses would be better with just less mirrors in general.
I agree.
Remember in like 1,000 years ago when just nobody knew what they looked like, and I think everyone was happier.
Everything was better then.
Yeah. I don't know, actually. How long have mirrors been around? Maybe we cut this part out of the outro.